This is the SF Productions Podcast Network.
After these messages, we'll be not back.
From the Pop Culture Bunker, I'm Mindy.
And I'm Mark. You can check out our audio podcast, How I Get My Way to Read Comics, on iTunes or on our website, sfpodcastnetwork.com. Well, the last vestige of a great tradition ended this past month.
Yes?
The CW ran their last Saturday morning cartoons, who were the last holdout of broadcast television. Saturday morning cartoons are no more. I know.
What happened?
Well, what did happen? Well, when we were kids, a bowl of cereal and cartoons on Saturday morning was a must.
Yes, you would get up, turn on the TV. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know, Mom and Dad got to do whatever they wanted for the morning.
Right. And you parked yourself in front of the TV set. And remember, this is a time when there was no Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network or Disney Channel or videotapes or DVDs or Hulu or Netflix. You got 3 channels of cartoons on Saturdays, and that was your option.
Right. There wasn't even a Fox network at that point.
Right. The top shows back then on Saturday morning, and this is going back in the mid-'60s, regularly got 20 million viewers. Today, the top primetime show, Big Bang Theory, gets 23 million. This was a huge business. In fact, my earliest memory is coming downstairs to watch The New Adventures of Superman, which was the 60s Filmation series. That's my very first memory.
Yes, you would expect that your memory had to do with TV.
Exactly. So, just some of the shows. Of course, you had the perennials.
Right.
They were always on in some form, you know, various permutations and reruns. You had Bugs Bunny and Looney Tunes and Roadrunner.
Right, the Warner Brothers stuff.
Right, and this was started actually over on ABC. They got Warner Brothers to agree to start showing the cartoons on network television, which had not been done before.
They were generally movie shorts, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right. But they also made a whole set of new ones at that time, and that's what you see now in a lot of the syndication packages, is a mix of those 40s and the stuff from the early 60s. The Flintstones.
Which was a primetime show first.
Right. And then moved over to Saturday morning. And, of course, this show begat. It's one of these shows that just generated a bunch of other shows. You had Pebbles and Bam Bam got their own show when they were teenagers.
Was it like the Pebbles and Bam Bam Adventure Hour
Yeah,
or something?
yeah.
I don't know.
You had Captain Caveman. You know, they were
the Big Kazoo or whatever, the little alien ever
the
had
Great
his-
Kazoo did never get his own show.
Okay.
So, but as you mentioned, started in primetime, moved over into Saturday morning cartoons.
And there's a lot of people that don't ever realize that was in prime time.
Right.
So.
Right. In fact, if you look on YouTube, you can find a commercial that they ran in primetime. Fred and Barney smoking Winston cigarettes. It's hilarious. We also had, of course, the Jetsons.
Meet George Jetson!
Jane, his wife. Now, the interesting thing about this show is the original run is like 20-some episodes. That's it. They only ran one season of it. And yet that season, until the 80s, was the same set they ran over and over and over.
Yeah.
They made a not nearly as good set of episodes in the 80s that they were able then to create a real syndication package with. But that one season, over and over and over. Tom and Jerry. And these were shows that, again, started back in the 40s. They reran a lot of those. They made new ones. Chuck Jones got involved. And that's when Chuck Jones got a little weird in terms of all his characters seem to have these enormous eyelashes. I never really got that. It looked weird to me.
Yeah, well.
So, going back to the 60s, just some of the shows out there. And some of these I had to have seen in reruns because I never saw the original runs of. The Alvin Show, which is
that was
AKA
the Chipmunks,
Chipmunks. Right? Yeah. You had Underdog.
Yes.
Which
I
was
loved Underdog.
Right, and it was also a very sarcastic show.
And I didn't realize that.
Right,
at the
yeah,
time,
as a kid
but...
you didn't realize it.
Yeah.
And then there's Tennessee Tuxedo and His Tales, which Tuxedo the Penguin was played by Don Adams, and his walrus chum was Chumley. Gee, I don't know, Tennessee. And there was Mr. Whoopi, who basically, this was really almost an educational program because they'd be like, we can't figure out how to do this thing. Let's go see Mr. Whoopi. And Mr. Whoopi would actually explain some scientific principle. Early educational television. There was Bullwinkle, and of course also known as Rocky the Flying Squirrel.
And there was some educational stuff in that too, with the time machine,
That's
the
right.
Wayback Machine.
That's right, with Mr. Peabody.
Yeah,
Hello.
Wasn't the mounted policeman Dudley Do-Right
Dudley
also
Do-Right
in
also
there?
part of that. Yes.
Yes.
And Commander McBragg.
Was that? No, I think I'm trying to remember which cartoon it was that had the I'm going to make mincemeat out of that mouse, and I don't remember. It seems to me it was like in that same.
That was in the same. I think that was part of Underdog.
Okay.
And not.
That
I
makes
may
more-
be wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember. That was Savoir Faire.
Yes.
Savoir Faire is everywhere.
Yes. That's right.
We had Top Cat, which was pretty much based on the Dead End Kids. There was Magilla Gorilla.
Magilla Gorilla for sale. Yeah.
We had Space Ghost.
To be followed many years later by Space Ghost
Coast to Coast.
But
Just all of those shows from Hanna-Barbera's World of Adventures, they called it. And that also included Shazam. So that was the genie and the two modern kids, but now they're in ancient Egypt.
yeah.
Or, ancient Arabia. And the genie would be like, ho, 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 ho.
Yeah, I remember that one now.
There was Birdman and the Galaxy Trio, who got their own show.
And that was Harvey Birdman?
Yes, the same
Okay.
character eventually became Harvey Birdman.
Okay.
Birdman! There was the Herculoids. And the Herculoids was kind of almost a tribute to Overwhelming Forces. Because it was these cavemen, but they had modern technology, and there were also these bizarre creatures who basically would beat the crap out of whoever was fighting them because it was such an overwhelming amount of force. There was Johnny Quest.
And again, the old Johnny Quest is much better than the new Johnny Quest.
Yes, by leaps and bounds.
Yes.
Yeah. And, the confirmed bachelors.
Yeah.
Race and Benton.
Yeah.
And the Banana Splits. Now, the Banana Splits,
That was not a cartoon, was it?
well, there was cartoon segments in there.
Okay.
Yeah. Then moving on to the 70s, there was Scooby-Doo.
Yes.
And kind of, to me, this was kind of like the beginning of the end of the
Well,
of the good cartoons
once
in a
they
way.
introduced Scrappy-Doo, that
yes,
was
that
the
was
end.
it. We're done.
That was done.
We're done. Yeah.
Scooby-Doo was
Yes.
still okay.
You had Pink Panther, which was just basically they took the theme song from the Pink Panther movies and just made a cartoon series about a Pink Panther.
Yes. I wasn't sure which one came first when I was little, but...
Yeah, it was the cartoon came second. There was Wacky Races, and so Wacky Races was...
And that was with Penelope Pitstop, right?
who eventually got her own show.
Yes.
And Dastardly and Muttley, who got their own show. This was a show that begat other shows. The Sid and Marty Krofft shows, like H.R. Puffin stuff.
That you really had to be on drugs, apparently.
Yeah.
I never watched those.
Land of the Lost. There was Electra Woman and Dinah Girl, which part of the Krofft Super Show. So they did this thing that was like live action and cartoons, and it was yeah, you're right. Clearly they were on something. Kids enjoyed it, but later when you're in college or something, you might have enjoyed it. The Harlem Globetrotters, and this was kind of a triumph of limited animation.
Yes.
There was I think they only had like 10 shots. They just over and over in the shot of the scoreboard going crazy. It's like over and over and over. Lancelot Link's Secret Chimp. Now again, not animation, live action, but this was basically trained monkeys.
Wasn't it kind of like Get Smart with monkeys?
Pretty much it was, yes. Oh, Lancelot. There was Curiosity Shop, and this came early 70s. Live action with some cartoons, and This was the first time I think we saw Pamela Ferdin.
Oh, okay.
And it also was trying to be quasi-educational. This was, I think, their attempt to ape Sesame Street when it first came out. Mm-hmm. Star Trek, the animated series, which I've done an episode-by-episode blog review of, so you can check that out on the site.
Gee, Mark, Saturday morning cartoons are really complicated.
Yes, they are. To the point where you have to make this into 2 episodes.
Okay, so in the meantime, while you're waiting for the next one to come out, you can check out our audio podcast, How I Got My Wife to Read Comics on iTunes, or on our website, sfpodcastnetwork.com. From the Pop Culture Bunker, I'm Mindy.
And I'm Mark. Thanks for watching.